Melting point. Today, October 1st, 2024, marks 64 years of our nation's independence. A time to reflect on our history, celebrate our progress, and reignite the hope we have for the future. My name is SHARON, MANDOR, and I'd like to welcome you to the Melting Point.
I am Enquiry. Thanks for joining us.
Alright, so as we honor the past and look towards tomorrow, we'll dive into the heart of our nation's journey, our achievements, our challenges, and what independence really means to each of us in today's Nigeria. This is a day for pride, unity, and reflection. On this Independence Day, we'll be discussing key issues, highlighting our shared successes, and exploring what lies ahead for our great nation. Let's talk about how we can all contribute to building a stronger, more united Nigeria. Welcome once again to the Melting Point, where we bring together diverse views, real conversations, and thought-provoking discussions. So stay with us as we explore what independence means in 2024 and beyond. Happy Independence Day once again, Nigeria. We are joined in the studio by public affairs analyst and the president and founder of Open Forum. Good morning to you, citizen Matthew Kofi O'Connor.
Good morning, Sharon. And good morning, the wholesaler.
Yeah, nice to have you again.
Thank you very much.
It's always a company.
Yeah, I appreciate the honor of being here, particularly on very special days.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, before we go into this independence, or everything that we're going to be talking about on the Independence Day, let's get talking about what's going on from social media and then to the National Assembly. What I was just talking about on what's trending, I'd like you to just touch on that, which is the VDM's accusation of Bobrisky not actually going to prison when he was sentenced to prison, but having an apartment where he was staying during jail term and bribing the EFCC 15 million naira.
On EFCC.
Well, first of all, today is 1st of October. And to us it means independence anniversary. It is our independence anniversary. It's like our own personal birthdays. No matter what condition that we are in, we cannot fail to acknowledge such a day. And if we cannot celebrate, you reflect. For Nigeria, it's a moment of very deep reflections. I appreciate the president. He has not declared fanfare, which has been regular. We'll come to all of that later, but I want to acknowledge that today is Nigeria is 64, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you, Memories FM. It's a memorable time being here. On the trending issues, particularly having to do with the very dark man and Bobrisky, Idris Okuneye, who, when he was in court, the judge asked him, "Are you a man or a woman?" His answer was clear, that he is a man. But he's a cross-dresser, and he's been showing that he has done surgeries and whatever to change him to a woman. But that very court session brought to the fore that he is a man. So, being sent to prison, one of the things I noticed when he was being led to the prison was that he was rolling his box. I don't know whoever goes to prison rolling his very expensive, must be designer's traveling bag, which must have contained the things he felt he needed at that point. I've never seen that all of my life. So that was questionable. And the fact that he was charged with money laundering and the facing of the naira by, he was doing the, what do you call it?
He was
spraying the naira, which is an offense.
Yeah.
That offense, analysts have said, does not fall under EFCC. Yeah, it's supposed to be handled, I think, by the central bank or the police or whatsoever. But EFCC chose to prosecute him on that. The legal practitioner should be able to help us out. Most interestingly, some persons said that he had started growing beards Now his true identity is coming out as a man. And they even filmed some pictures of him in the prison, which I did not believe anyway. But I knew that definitely Idris Okuneye Bobrisky would not come out the way he went in. Shockingly, he came out prettier. He came out very refreshed, and he came out bubbling and throwing parties. Mentioned how much he made while he was there and all of that. It was questionable because I have seen prisoners. I've seen somebody that came out of prison. I've seen even there was a very big man in this state who was implicated during the coup, and he was incarcerated. By the time he was released from military detention, the man turned to small letter I. Yes. So, what made Bobrisky different, knowing that our prisoners, the kind of food they are fed with, it's impossible. So, every generation, God brings out people that speak, that do unusual things. And this very generation, apart from some of us that are doing what we are doing at our own level, a man called Very Dark Man, I've forgotten his name now, his real name, he has a real name, he's from Edo State. He's doing wonders, and by throwing up, disclosing that revelation, which he got from Fela's son, who got it from somebody that had direct link with Bobrisky, exposed the rot, the corruption, which is one of our greatest problems in this country, having to do with the fact that he paid money for, allegedly paid money for one of the charges to be dropped, and also paid to be housed in a guest house completely away from the prison. And some person said they visited him while he was in prison. And we now know that such people are nothing but liars.
Well, one of them that said she, also a cross-dresser, so I don't even know the pronoun to use, mentioned that, made a video yesterday, saying
Brown.
that, James Brown, saying that she got there to the prison. When she came out, at first she said she had seen Bobrisky. But yesterday she made a video saying that she got there, waited for 10 hours, and she never saw Bobrisky.
No, he's to be invited, because we'll take him by the first word. He saw Bobrisky. He has to tell us where he or she
found Bobrisky.
Met Bobrisky. And then let's just fast forward to the invitation by EFCC. EFCC has been accused. They had no business inviting Very Dark Man for questioning. Yes. And the National Assembly that invited him, I didn't expect National Assembly to invite him. I had expected Mr. President to set up a panel to investigate that. Why? Because as we speak, there are other very grievous allegations made by people in authority, including a terrorist, against a sitting minister of state. The governor of Zamfara State. First, it was the commissioner that made a press statement that the former governor of Zamfara State, Matawale, was involved in sponsoring and assisting terrorists. And then the governor came out and made a statement alluding to that. Before then, Toji, the most wanted terrorist in this country, also made allegations against that same minister. The governor now did it. And National Assembly is not interested. Even the presidency is not interested to prove such a thing. So why is the Very Dark Man's case of 15 million changing hands, allegedly changing hands to EFCC, and 10 million being paid to the correctional service leadership to give him a guest house? Why is that more important than handing over a country to people who are by themselves suspect? It is an indictment. Nobody has pointed that out yet. I did that on social media yesterday when I was chatting with some persons overseas, and they were laughing. Why did a Very Dark Man go with a juju man? She is strong. I said, look, why did he say he would die if he speaks? I said that was misquote. What he said was that if Bobrisky is not at the National Assembly, he will not speak. If he speaks, let him die. he was standing his grounds. And you know why he has to stand his ground so much? Because he has facts that can never be controverted. And to worsen matters up, he mentioned Falls and Femi Falana, his father. What made matters worse is because Falls, through the lawyers in his father's chambers, wrote to Very Dark Man, telling Very Dark Man that the allegation is not true. Yes, he spoke with Bobrisky. He talked about getting the money, that you were aware he was looking for money to pay to get himself luxury. You can't reverse that now, because he felt that this one, how do I get out of it? But suddenly 2 days ago he said that thing was AI generated. We are not children. I thank God for Very Dark Man. When it was some persons tried to intimidate him, he turned it on them. And he mentioned, like you heard, he said, you that threatened me, if I get anything about you, I will drop it. Because people are thriving since people are afraid to speak truth, to be real. And how long can we continue? We are here where we are, that we cannot celebrate at 64 because we are afraid to speak, so that nobody will kill you, nobody will stab you. If government does not patronize you, you are dead. Why am I not dead? How many years now? So I commend Very Dark Man. By the grace of God, even God himself normally looks for a man to stand in the gap. So here and there are individuals. It doesn't have to be many, but it doesn't have to also be few. But it would be better if citizens will come to realization that all is not well, and it is time to correct the errors, no matter whose ox is gored. And like my principle I've been saying, I've said it here severally, I'll keep saying it, it's my personal principle, that wherever issues are involved, nobody is important. Why? Because your own life may depend on it. I like what is playing out. Bobrisky says it's not well. We have never heard him say he's ill before all his life. But within 24 hours of let's go to court. The court now being National Assembly, House of Reps. He says it's not well. Even his lawyer wasn't there. No, there's a limit to these things.
So his lawyer was there.
Was lawyer there?
His lawyer was there. His lawyer was the one that spoke for him.
Okay,
that he's not feeling.
Okay, he was asked to go and bring doctor's report.
Yes.
All those are child's play. The bottom line is that they are meeting a rock, and definitely somebody will have to bow, or the rock will fall on such a person. God forbid. It's time to tell truth to ourselves.
All right. At situations like this, what impact has that got to do with the Nigerian nation?
Very, very positive. It has exposed certain things that have been going on. Remember when Emefiele was under trial, was in detention, brought to court, and the judgment was given, and the correctional center and I think was it DSS,
yes,
were fighting. They fought physically. The video is there, I watched it, on who would take custody of Emefiele. And those who had possibly known how things work in the system said they know why they are fighting for him, because whosoever keeps the man in custody is blessed. You know what that means? They fought in the court premises. It shows that people are doing business with those that go to prison, depending on your class. Yes, there are different prison conditions. They said there are some are executive, some are this and that, but prison is supposed to be prison anyway. Not this one that is completely away from the prison confines to a guest house where he was doing videos. I hope you've seen some of the videos that are in public domain. In the course of this conversation, those videos will come out, and then the correctional center people will go and show us, will show to the world which of their prisons has that ambience where what do you call it, Bobrisky was doing video. He had access to phone.
But they've
And
admitted
sending-
the fact.
yeah.
See, they've also they've admitted the fact that he was in a different prison. They couldn't put him in a male prison because he has female features. So that was why, and they couldn't put him in a female prison either. But talking generally about corruption.
Let me say that they should tell that, like they say, tell that to the Marines. You don't say such a thing. Bobrisky, where are you going to put him? What did they tell us? Did they say they were going to put him in a special custodial facility? Even if they needed to evacuate such a special, unique person who told the court that he was a man, but correctional center knows more than the court, the judge who gave the sentence. I mean, we are too intelligent for all these. There are times you don't tell this except you feel that the system is totally corrupt, and fellows like those who help you are embarrassing the country. It's not the best for our image. It is never the best.
Speaking generally now, how can Nigeria realistically tackle the deeply entrenched corruption in our system? And this exists across all levels of government. I want to also take us back to what he said while he was in the House of Reps, saying that our judiciary also is involved in this level of corruption.
Yeah.
And he said it in front of even the international media that were present at the plenary yesterday. How can we solve this corruption issue that we have in the country?
It's very simple. I say that with every sense of responsibility. I hope you are aware that, I don't know you much anyway, you understand? But there are people that you know, and you also know yourself. I hope you are aware that there are certain people who will not compromise their standards just because they are going to be favored. I have had such an opportunity. Yeah, here's this money, we are going to share it. I said, no, this money belongs to the people. He said, it's not for the people. This is our turn. So, where you find people who are eager to be part of the system, because corruption and leadership recruitment has promoted mediocrity, has promoted being a propagandist machinery, has promoted thuggery, cultism. If you are not, you are outside. And so, within the Nigerian context, what we now have is government and the people. And they believe that, those in government believe that the people does not matter. And some of the people are very eager to compromise just to be part of government because poverty awaits everybody. So, if we have so many people who do not detest the level of corruption, where you find people that have offered nothing becoming the rich in society, they bring nothing to the table, absolutely nothing but negativity, and then you find people still supporting them. That's the way the problem is. But when you find reformers, people like Very Dark Man, and myself by the grace of God, because I represent a productivity advocate and practitioner, I pride myself as a reformer, and being a founder and president of an NGO which is to care for humanity. The elevation of corruption, the elevation of mundane things as representing who you are and your worth, until that is done away, it will never. That was why in June we declared what we call war against Nigerian factor. Nigerian factor is about corruption, it's about impunity, and there's no sector that is been saved. Traditional institution, religious, like Very Dark Man said, like even judges have said, the judiciary has been corrupted. There's no sectors. Are they not Nigerians? Especially now that politicians are finding their wives, finding their children, their in-laws to get into the apex, so that you have people everywhere. You must have somebody in INEC, you must have somebody in the judiciary, you must have somebody in the security agencies. We need what we have declared war against Nigerian factor and the birth of the Nigerian dream, which is what we flagged off in June. Incidentally, as we speak, we are still unable to take off fully, because where do you get the support? Even those that should support you say, you know, government don't like this kind of thing. If I support, The government will not continue to patronize me and all of that. But we don't get moved. If you cannot run, we crawl. And that's what we are doing. So, holistic reforms, and there must be some persons that will stand out and speak the truth. Otherwise, we never thought we could go lower than this. We felt that under Buhari, there's no level that we can ever drop any further. But here we are. We are wondering how we got here when we know how we got here. And we have opportunity to profess solution, like by the grace of God we're going to do today. Why must you keep quiet so that somebody doesn't get offended? That manner, people like us are leading it, others are leading it, and in a matter of time, people will be ashamed that they ever did what they did. And when the reformer emerges on the scene, or when the people are able to convince Mr. President to be the reformer that we need, they will declare what I called amnesty for corrupt people. You either bring the loot, or we'll come for you. When we come for you, you will not like it. And become so prosperous. So Mr. President must declare war on corruption. It doesn't matter his background. The world can say, no matter what you've done wrong, we forgive you. Be our Messiah. And if you refuse to be our Messiah, we shall look for the Messiah. But first we are going to try to make the Messiah out of him. Or we look for a Messiah, and when the Messiah comes, no matter who you are, even if they are dead, your name will be brought back and tried. And by the grace of God, Nigeria will triumph. That's what I have to say on that.
All right. Of course, you know, it is said that whoever wants to come to Equity will have to come with clean hands.
Yes. But Nigerians put hands in their pocket when they are going to Equity.
Yeah, they put their hands in their pockets. Okay, now let's away from that. Now, some Nigerians are on the streets at the moment and they are protesting the high cost, or let me say, protesting against inflation and cost of living and cost of governance and all of that. Out of the 12-point paragraph of the presidential address today, what have you found missing in that address?
What the way you've come. You are a guru in this thing. After the presidential address, I listened to it. In fact, I had a call before that. I told the person, please, I don't want my attention to be divided. I want to hear Mr. President. Not because I really expected much. Going by previous addresses. And I have always blamed his speechwriters. Sincerely. Why? You look at the mood of the country. You look at the national question. What is or are the national questions as we speak? Is, first of all, the poverty and the suffering that we are going through, which has superseded the main national question having to do with the structure of this country. No matter the effort, it will be impossible to develop Nigeria the way it is presently structured. But poverty, mass poverty, which is man-made, had relegated that a little bit. So we are talking about how do you make people to try to get back their lives. I remember when I did my hunger strike, I said, I want my life back. All I did was I want my life back. If I'm guilty, please. It's hinged on the fact that any sensible person had believed that despite the fact that Dangote is a private man and is a monopolist, is a capitalist, but he has offered so much contribution, he has offered products for people to benefit, then he makes his money. That there's no way we'll have fuel produced in Nigeria that the fuel price will not come down. But what happened? A limited liability company called NNPCL, NNPC Limited, became a regulatory body in a system that itself is also a 2 billions. In fact, trillions when you talk about turnaround maintenance and paying for staff who are not productive there. That's how the deck made Mr. President never touched it. The very terribly skewed idea. I grew up hearing a thing that made me careful in life. And what was that? Measure twice. You know what? Measure twice and cut once. Nobody who wants to succeed will cut before measuring, or even measure once and cut twice. And cut twice, because you end up discarding that very wood. If you're a carpenter, if you are an iron fabricator, you know you are going to, that product you cut twice, which can no longer fit, will not be useful for that purpose. What happened to us in floating of the naira was in never measuring but cutting. Let's update. Naira is 1,700 plus. There is nothing you will do if something is not done about that. Then there's nothing you will do if something is not done to bring the cost of fuel down. None of those things featured. What featured was a proposal which is not something we can applaud as something, oh, that is wonderful. And what is that? The Youth Summit. We are supposed to hear the blueprint of the government or the master plan of Nigeria on youth development, which is supposed to be implementing. And for the first time, we have the Ministry of Youth and Sport split into two. Ministry of Youth Development and Ministry of Sport. What has been the outcome of that ministry? Or is it now? Because youths have been talking about protests, and some of them are in prison because they protested, exacting their legal right, and they are branded with treasonable felony? No. So, as soon as the speech finished, I had prepared my spirit. Not expect much, so that if something good comes, I'll be excited enough. That speech did not befit the mood and the state of the country. There's something Mr. President said about what our leaders, our forebears, our forerunners bequeath on Nigeria. And what did he say? He said it's democracy. I faulted that. We have done message. Open Forum has done, we've done our message for the 64th anniversary. I'm yet to put it out. I did the write-up yesterday, and we mentioned what our forebears bequeathed on us. And what was that? Federalism. Federalism. That was what made them to accept to even come together. Otherwise, Nigeria would never have had independence. Maybe it would have ended up being different countries eventually, because the North was not prepared when they now removed the motion for independence. It wasn't until about 3 to 4 years after, because the North said they are not ready. The South had been ready. So they had to do some fast forwarding and crash programs to produce professors within months, like some persons said. Some professors had to be produced. True federalism. True in quotes. So, for Mr. President to highlight democracy, the speechwriter did not do well for him. And he praised that the dream of Nigeria, bequeathed on our forebears, which was to be a leader in Africa and globally. SHARON and Enquiry, that dream, he said, we are living it. But I differ. We are not living that dream. And that couldn't just have been the Nigerian dream. In fact, I am almost 60. I cannot pinpoint my hand that this has been a Nigerian dream. But that is what we in Open Forum have launched. And we have a 7-point agenda for both the Akwa Ibom dream, because it's supposed to be domesticated, and the Nigerian dream. If I ask us to even Google now, let's see the Nigerian dream, Maybe I'll do that later. I don't think it's been part of us. What we've been having has been a Nigerian factor, because we have leadership issues which even His Excellency had admitted, including in overseas, that our problem is leadership. So I go even to the extent of also admitting to what somebody said, that leadership is reflection of the citizens. So if citizens will look at themselves and say, no, you don't represent me, this doesn't look like me, you must be loud about it and let nobody try to shut you up. Yeah, I run an intellectual revolution. I'm a non-violent person, and I have the grace for that, even though I've suffered so much loss, but I don't have the grace.
Not violence.
No, but physical. This is intellectual. We bring things. We're leading an intellectual revolution. We bring things to the table. We don't just condemn and act. We bring alternative model. It is different from about just being on the street, which I am not against, but because the greatest protester, apart from Mandela, who went to prison for 27 years, came out and became president for a single term, not because he wasn't strong to continue, but because he was a different human being completely. The greatest protester I have known all of my life is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our current president. So when you find the number one, the king of protests, speaking against protests, and then certain persons who will have been able to be useful to Mr. President to say, these are your sons, these are your grandchildren, you show them the way. They are the ones telling you, don't go out to say that you will not be killed. There is something wrong. And wherever you find something wrong, tell me, I don't see you winning this case. I said, I'm the victim, I'm the one even looking for peace and justice. And you are saying you don't see me winning the case. God is a God of justice. That's how wicked, that's how hopeless certain persons are. But they hold very high offices. Another person, somebody told me somewhere, we're talking about the matter that was clear. He said, you are just alone. No? If we come together, we will win you. I kept quiet to listen to him disgrace himself. You win me, like that man said. You see me, I wouldn't do it. No matter what, I wouldn't do it. Is it at this age? So we must be able to help our leaders. That has been my appeal. That has been my effort. We must help every leader that emerges. It doesn't matter if he belongs to your party or not. Help him to succeed, because if he fails, it's not his private business though. We are going to fail alone. And so much iniquity. Why? Sharon and Enquiry, my brother, the sin of a leader rests on the people. That is the mystery that we may not know is spiritual. Any evil a leader does, it's at the mercy of God that the land can be saved.
All right.
So we must be careful to make sure a leader does not draw people to sin, does not promote iniquity, because it is the land that will suffer it. And so far, there are cases that we know that this is not possible, but the court has said yes.
You can respond to this in 3 minutes. Now, you've mentioned that you don't feel positive about the youth confab that he mentioned. I was going to throw the question, how can we make sure that whatever the resolution that comes out of that will be put into practice, because we've heard of things like that and we never ever practice it.
Very good point. Very good point. I noted that when I was doing my jottings. There's nothing wrong. I love intellectual gathering. I do that very regularly. I've spent most of my monies on being on radio and running town hall meetings. Why? Because the ideas you bring out, sometimes even the people who cannot do it while they are in office, if they come to the town hall meeting, they will speak the truth. That's the reality. But when in the office, they can't do it because their boss may not believe in doing the things rightly, because whenever you do things correctly, corruption will be eliminated, because you are bound to be accountable. So I noted in my memo that yes, the youth confab can hold. The selection process may be one thing. Why? Because anything that is done is based on stakeholders. And these stakeholders are people that have stake already, and most of them is to protect their cabals. And they will send some youth there who will not be able to speak truth to power. They will not. It's to praise the administration, like we saw leaders, including traditional rulers, when the last end bad governance protest in August. Mr. President was inviting royal fathers, opinion leaders to the villa, even former presidents. What did we hear? Endorsement. What did they do? Something called vote of confidence. Instead of preferring solution, you know, when you see such, you know that you don't have leaders. You don't have them. You don't have them. They don't represent you. So if we have the kind of youth summit where frank conversations will be brought to the table, and then after that the report will be reviewed here and adopted and implemented, good and fine. So far, the greatest confab ever held in this country was 2014 National Conference under PDP, where the royals of royals across, the who is who, eminent jurists.
Let me interrupt you. Okay. We have to go on a commercial break. When we return, we'll be talking more about this confab. Stay tuned. independence anniversary of our dear country, Nigeria. Before we went to that commercial break, we had Citizen in the studio, and he was talking about the 2014 confab report that was not implemented, and then I'm just going to let him land before I open the phone lines. Citizen, up to you in a minute.
Thank you. We're looking at if the youth summit holds, what would the outcome be, and would the outcome be implemented? And I was trying to reflect that the greatest confab ever done in the history of Nigeria in modern day was the 2014 confab under Jonathan, and we had the best of leaders and best possible outcomes, but it was not implemented, and even the sitting president and his party did not believe in it. But that report is there. But under the APC, they promised restructuring, and I'm sure you are aware. In 2017, the Buhari-led administration set up the True Federalism Committee that was headed by El Rufai, and that report was submitted, I think, in January 2018. Nobody has spoken about that report because the restructuring of the country was a campaign promise by the APC led by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 2014, 2015, and they won the election, and he did something and abandoned it. So, what gives hope? But if this very youth summit will lead to our being able to get back other critical reports and then review, so be it. Otherwise, it's just another jamboree, and God forbid, because there's a limit to how people can be dragged. When you're supposed to make progress, you are pulled backwards. There's a limit to it.
All right. Thank you very much, Citizen.
All right, which means you're seeing the youth confab as another avenue, okay, to make money, or that may not work out.
Yeah, looking at the past records,
Based
it may
on
not. And
antecedents.
the youth question is not the national question now.
All right.
The national question goes beyond a youth summit.
Yes.
It goes to what the Patriot has said. It is time to restructure the country, despite whosoever is also in office within that said that restructuring my foot, or that those looking for restructuring are insane.
All right, fellow Nigerians, you can be part of this conversation by dialing 0803 085 7755, or the other number is 0809 066 6909. We've got a call here. Hello, good morning.
Good morning and welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Everything that is established for us to enjoy and live our life has been spoiled by the democracy current politicians. The only good out there is put up, or you can cry and pray for God. Because you know when God gave Samuel the king of Israel, Samuel was so good to complete.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's see if we can take another call. There is
Hello,
a
good
call
morning.
here.
Oh, we lost that
Lost
call.
that. Please try
We
again.
want to call us back. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, welcome.
Good
Kevin.
morning. All right, Kevin.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Same to
Same
you.
to you.
Kevin, kindly wrap up.
All right, thank you very much. It's ongoing.
Oh, we
Okay,
lost
let me
that.
take a
So
WhatsApp
call.
message from
Message.
Bob Godwin in downtown. Thanks for sending this message. He says, salutes to you, Queen of the Airwaves and others in the studio. Happy New Month and happy Independent Day. Fantastic to participate in today's plenary. My fellow compatriots, happy anniversary to all patriotic compatriots. Thanks be to God Almighty for all these years of existence, despite catastrophic circumstances and challenges. I'm a patriotic compatriot. Can you down it 30 seconds, please?
Good morning.
Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My call is coming in when I have just about 1 minute.
30 seconds. Oh, go ahead.
I want to say something here.
Brief.
The president's speech, in my opinion, was empty. As far as he did not address the court issues, he didn't mention refinance. Because he knows they have deceived us 16 times by the function for the government. 10 times in the past administration, which he was a critical participant. So he cannot extricate himself from that.
All right.
I'm going to the BBC to announce to the entire world in 2017 that we will not import fuel again in 2019. That was if a category went there to meet the petroleum minister, to meet the president. That interview was 20 minutes. I'm called by the in Chicago. I want to give that this is represented me go and give. Now in 2023, January, during the conference, they said by first quarter of 2024.
Okay, wrap up.
Thank you. Oh, so sorry. Perhaps we can do it again tomorrow. All right. Thank you very. Yeah, you can do so tomorrow at 10. We'll
Please
do the
do
program
also
again.
call in
Thank
early.
you.
Yes, thank you very much for all the calls. Citizen,
Yes.
if you can get your wrap up in 20 seconds. We have just about 40 seconds
That is
left.
serious. First, I want to extend my condolences to His Excellency the Governor over the death of the wife. I pray that God will give her soul rest. I'm proud International Monetary Fund, World Bank, and other countries over $380 million loan. We used to give loans that we are receiving now. This country. It's time for citizens to take back their country. Why? How? By helping leaders. Not in violence, but if you can be intellectually violent, so be it. To put ideas across to save us. Otherwise, there is no justification the trajectory that we are currently in now. We can be better than who we are now. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, and thank you too to our callers for being part of the program.
Thank you very much for listening to The Melting Point. We've come to an end. I think we're going to have a part 2 of this conversation tomorrow.
Right.
Thank you very much for listening. My name is Sharon Mandor.
It's been I'm glad to have you on the show today, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Anefiok Enquiry. Good morning. Happy holiday.